Today we're in Ludlow, Massachusetts, and we're going to look at the Ludlow Cemetery. I believe, by looking at the many dates inside of here, it's probably from the year 1832. And there's lots of marble gravestones in upright formation. There's a lot of obelisks also. A lot of white in this cemetery because most of the gravestones are from the 1800s. None, of course, are from the 1700s. It didn't exist yet, although there's a couple of brownstone obelisks around. And then there's not many stones from 1900. There are some, but this is mostly an 1800s cemetery. And what we're going to do is they have 3 access roads. We'll drive each one and then come back to the center. And one stone caught my eye right here. It's the only one that's not a bright white. That's Catherine Snow, died 1851. Yeah, I would bet, since all the stones are bright white, if they're upright, that someone's been cleaning the stones, and that's a wonderful sight to see, right? So only one stone is really not clean. That is wonderful, because most cemeteries don't have that kind of upkeep. Now, most of the very old stones from the 1830s are towards the back, left, to the slight left of these 2 maintenance sheds back here. There are a few infants towards the front that are from 1830s also. But I noticed over here some 1830s. And a lot of names you would expect inside of Ludlow. There's Sykes, and there's Fuller, and there's Miller. These are kind of names that are found very often around Ludlow. Okay, and there's one large block stone over there. That is not a mausoleum. He's buried in the ground. And a lot of the modern stones are back towards the back right and back left. Now they do have a trail back here. I think it's for maintenance only. Okay, now we're coming upon one or a couple of unique features. This cemetery comes upon a slight slope towards its southern side, and these stones are going to be hard to keep upright. 100 years from now, you might find these down because any ability for water to run gives it the ability for the soil to push against the stone and topple it over. Now, every town in Massachusetts and every city needs to have a place during the winter to put burials. It's called a receiving tomb. And before people had the ability to open up the ground in the winter months, you had to have a place to put the bodies during the winter because you couldn't open the ground for burials. And this is Ludlow's receiving tomb. You can see there's a lock on it. It faces towards the south. A lot of receiving tombs do face towards the south. It would have been not totally in the back, which is unusual. Most time they're the back of the old part, and this one's not quite in the back of the old part. But this might have been as far as they cut the trees down back then. So this receiving tomb might have been in the back. And usually they're found in the back left. But since this one, they want it to face outwards from the cemetery, usually always face outwards. They usually always try to face them south. So when you put bodies inside there, they already have a natural east to west orientation, like most of the burials are going to be put in, east to west. Now, it's hard to classify this cemetery as being, is it a rural churchyard, neighborhood, family, or lawn cemetery. I would say that it's mostly was meant to be a neighborhood cemetery. It came late in the process of Ludlow's development when we're out on the road. We cut back into the third entrance. And each entrance has these large granite pillars. So I think that was the original location of the fences. Okay, so we come back into the cemetery. Now this is the least developed of all the roads going in. Now I noticed this one stone way back here, back far away from all the others. This might, and you notice that the whole area is with very few gravestones. And as you sweep around this area, there's a few stones. Her name, or his name, was Ithiel Lombard, died 1848. Now I'm going to look at that stone. One of two things is possible. And as we sweep around this area, you notice the lack of stones around this area. Okay, this might be the potter's field, and this might be a pauper's grave. Usually you put them in the back right. This is in the back left. So that's quite different. But I did notice the back right didn't have an empty space. So this might be the potter's field. Another guess is that she might have, or he might have committed suicide. So I'm going to try to find the death certificate for that person to figure out what's going on. Okay, so now we're in the very back road again. Now, when I looked at the stones, these stones over here had a couple of 1830 stones. So these might be the oldest of all of the adults. And I did see a couple infants with full tablet stones. So they might have been buried here too, but the family might have bought a full plot at some point, and that's why they're towards the front. Towards the back, you have more individuals or smaller family. Towards the front, you have the larger families, especially with the white obelisks. Now, to our right side, we're going to see a full family plot surrounded by curbing, right, and individual stones inside of it. Right, and this is nice. It's the only curbing you see in the cemetery, so that's a great thing to see. All right, and then there's a lot of more names you expect inside of Ludlow Walker. Notice that stone's up on a brown stone pillar instead of a granite pillar, and it's marble above it, so that's a little unusual, but there's one like that beyond it too. Now there's a lot of toppled stones because it's not a level cemetery. Stones are going to topple, and I don't know if Ludlow has a CPA, Community Preservation Act grant. They probably don't, but hopefully someday they can get it and they fix up their cemeteries as much as possible. All right, so we're now going out the front, and so we've seen this a lot in this area. Notice the two pillars again, and so this is where the original fence used to be. Okay, so thank you for coming to Ludlow Cemetery.